So let us pull up uh, a simple slide which I prepared beforehand. Just look at the Cortex API. So good. The slide is quite simple because I don't want to complicate things, and it's just a simple slide that will just introduces us to the Cortex API, and just put it here. Hope you see the screen. Good. So the React Cortex API. Okay. So what is the React Cortex API? If you took your time and read about it, you realize that the Cortex API is just a component structure which came up with this React 16.3. It's a new concept which is intending to avoid something called prompt drilling. Okay, so as I said, the Cortex API is a component structure, yeah, which is provided by React Framework. So it's inbuilt. You don't have to get third-party packages or libraries to be able to use what you call a global state. Okay, so it enables us to have data or state shared across different levels of application. That means different components can always have and can be able to access the data, in which case if you are in state, and then what it has to solve is mainly is prop drilling. Okay, so prop drilling is what you're trying to avoid. Okay, and what is prop drilling? Okay, we have been big process about prop drilling. Okay, so what is prop drilling? We're supposed to be props. Mistake here. So so prop drilling is what a bit doing. Okay, you pass in a prop from the parent to the child, from the child to the grandchild. Okay, so you continuously have your application have like drill. Okay, so in our case you can even show an illustration of how it works. And so this is how prop drilling works. Okay, so you have here your parent, which is the red one. Then it passes a prop. Maybe this is a prop code color and size. Then you pass into the maybe this is like actually says the parent. Then the child. Then this yellow one also has a child. So you pass in a prop again together. And again you pass in a prop. Okay, so you're passing from the mom, so the parent to the child, okay, to another child, to another child. Okay, that's prop drilling. Okay, if you imagine you have a library around like maybe like around like 30 components. Okay, the 30 child components. That means you're going to pass 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, together you're passing it more continuously, and that's where we have these problems coming in. Okay, things like you have to track the names. Okay, be assuming you forget to pass in props in a middle component. All this happens. Okay, and be having issues with your application because you have forgot to pass a prop somewhere. Okay, and then of course once you have more things to deal with and you have more props to track, things get complex and complicated. Okay, together. So once you want to build more a large application, prop drilling becomes extremely bad. But for things like to do apps, things like simple app, you don't need the Cortex API because it's quite easy, just few levels. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So the question is, how does the Cortex API solve this issue of prop drilling? Okay, which you have to like continuous track of the data. Okay, and it's quite simple. The simplest thing I can explain, it just removes the data from the parent. Okay, and makes it global. It just removes the data and makes it global data. Okay, that means all the components have access to the data. Okay, that means all the components in our case here. In our case here, all the components will have that. That means you have an external source of like you just remove the props. Okay, this data, put them outside. Okay, and you can see this illustration which is here. that you're having your context, okay, or your data here, okay, which is the usually we call name the context together. So usually instead of you passing from the parent to the child, okay, you have an external source of what of of data or of state, okay, and then the complex can either subscribe, which is they can consume the data together, then they can provide, and then you can sorry, so the complex can consume the data, okay, instead of having this passing it in this way, you pass it via an external source, which is the context, okay, and all the complex, okay, A, B, C, all of this, okay, or like from A to B to C to all this will be having access to the data, okay, and at any time they can access the data, okay. If you don't want them to access data, you don't actually use the data, okay. That means it's optional for a component, maybe component A, to have data, okay. In our case here, for props, the yellow component has to have this data so that the green one can have the data, okay. But in our case, for the context API, you don't have to have this B doesn't have to have the data for C to access it, okay. So in our case, I'm going to show you what prop dwelling is, okay, and I'm going to try it to see our application, okay, which we stopped on last Monday, and I continue on it and I show you prop dwelling, okay, and then I'll kick him into the context API right away. So if you have questions before I begin, please feel free to ask them. So questions for me on the slides. Yeah, and if you are okay, you can hold a thumbs up for me, okay. Like usually, that thumbs up. Good. So as you are ready to ask the questions, let me just start my server up so that can save some time. Okay. Good. Can you guys hear me one more time? Because I've asked a question, but I haven't got a reply. If you can hear me, thumbs up. That is, you can continue. Yeah. So any questions? Okay, since you guys have no questions for me, let's continue where we stopped last time. Okay, I'm gonna try to re-explain what we did last time, very quick. Okay, quick. So those who were there last time, you can always find this code. Just go to learn React series on GitHub, which I'll link one more time, and just go to the branch of super duper blog. Okay, so you have access to the source code. So let's continue. Okay, so let me just explain code really quick what we had on Monday, and then you can continue really quick. Okay, so in our application we had a bunch of components. Okay, which will have our add blog component, then our blog section, then our footer, then our navigation, because navigation is a navigation, and okay, see, you can see let me just increase this a little bit up, and you can see that the components. Okay, real quick, and then you can continue real quick, because I don't want to get confused. Then just close this up, then we try increase this a little bit. Okay, so good. So you can see that the navigation is this navigation together. Then the blog section here is this simple blog section. Then the footer, of course, is footer. Then the pages we having the home page, which is this home page together. Then we have the login page, which is the get started page, which is here, login page. Then we have the 404 page. Actually, you go to, maybe I didn't explain last Monday, but if you go to slash, actually it's a slash, let's say test together. You have a test route. You can see they will tell you no match found for test, go back to home together. It's a simple thing which is quite simple to do. I'll show you in a minute. You can see now we have the single blog page, which is let's go back to our, if you click on maybe read more here, you can see this is a single blog page, very simple. And last Monday, which is yesterday part 1, we simply looked at creating what, passing data from the home page to the blog section. Okay, let me just show you what we did last Monday real quick. Okay, so let me just make it a bit bigger. So last Monday, on Monday, let's say Monday, so last Monday. Okay, so Monday we simply created like an array of objects. Okay, with an ID, title, subject, and image. Okay, and this image is coming from Picasam. Okay, and Picasam is a free online image repository which you can just get images and link them to your application. That free, and I think they are, you don't have to, they are copyright free. Okay, so of course we say that we want to create the state. Okay, so this state, the initial state, okay, is equal to this array of objects together. Yes, because you can pass in this array here, but make it neat, just separate like too much like the content, just separate the logic a little bit. So of course here I'm passing it as props, okay, like title, subject, excuse me, so let's continue. So we are passing in the data, which is this data here together, as props like title, subject, image, then set blocks together. Yeah, and in a way you can say I want to pass in the whole kind of say the blog, whole the blogs. Okay, but it gets a bit kind of hectic to do. So I just want to pass in each individual one. Okay, each individual one. So I'm passing the blogs because that's, I want to mutate them, I want to change them. Okay, and we saw that how you can mutate this using the set blogs function or method, which is provided by the set state by the use state method from React. Okay, and you can see inside our blog section component here, we having up here we're having our set blogs, okay, together like that. Okay, and I think we add a symbol which is ID 5. Then of course I have videos, just like that, a simple one. Okay, a simple addition. Okay, so by spreading the blocks which coming from the state, then we add a new blog, and you can see just if I click on this button, because remember, just look at that button just to test out. Okay, click on add blog. You see, I'm adding a new blog together with a different image. Okay, same thing. Unlock by the same image here because the link is the same. Okay, and of course we have to we will complain somehow. If we check here, we have to complain about. Okay, let me just increase the size because I'm sure you can't see it clearly. Let me just increase it a little bit. Control plus. Okay. Then of course then try to increase it a little bit more. Okay. Console. Oh, have no errors. Yeah, but it should complain about having the same key here. But it's okay. Okay, it's okay. Maybe sometimes it will check all the errors. Okay, but this and this. Okay, this you can see. Okay. It's not complaining, but it's okay, okay. And you can always remember, if you see our components, we having our having our home what component here. Forget about all these consumers. All these are coming from React router, so we don't mind them. Just the blog, the home page. You can see we having our state having this 1 2 3 4. Okay, you can see if I add a new one, it's being added here. Okay, together. That's why we are doing state. Okay, but now let's try to add. Okay, let's try to create a blog. Okay, create a blog from this page. Okay, from our create blog page together. So from this create blog page, okay, we have to change data from, let's see, we want to add data. We want to add a new blog. Maybe set this blog. Okay, we want the data to come from the form together. That means this set blog should be passed in as a prop within our add blog page together. That means we need to have access to the add blog together. You need to have access to the blogs. Okay, so how can we do that? Okay, how can we have access to the blogs which are inside a different child component together? The only way we can do that, okay, is go ahead and have the blogs, okay, all this use state, have it inside the app. Okay, let's do it quick and I'll show you why. What I try to do is probably link, okay, real quick, then we can go ahead and look at context. Okay, because I don't want us to look at properly link, which is kind of like it's a common thing we do. Okay, because it's kind of the basics of React. So today is one to focus on the context API. Okay, so let me just copy it up and once I can call it up together, then go back to my app. Okay, then at the top here, so inside my app I'll pass in this. Okay, then I'll also come ahead and pass in this use state. Okay, because I need use state, I think use state. I'm gonna pass in this use state here, control copy up, then come at top, pass in use state together, just like that, to avoid such errors. Then of course I'll come back to my home page again, then of course I'll bring this, okay, this in, Ctrl X, then of course I'll bring it just above here. Okay, that's it, because I want to have shared state within different components which are children. Okay, that's why this is called pop veiling, okay, which is unnecessary. Okay, then I can have, yeah, I think that's all. Okay, that's all. Then I have to pass down here. I have to pass inside my inside this inside the component called home. I have to pass in the props. Okay, so I have to change this from this kind of updating it. Okay, then passing it has a home page like this, home page. Okay, then passing props here. Okay, the props will be, first one will be blogs together equals to blogs. Okay, together. Then I'll have set blogs equals to set blogs together like that. I just like keeping the names the same just to avoid not remembering what component is this and what prop is this. Okay, so that's why the names are the same. Okay, then of course like that. Okay, so like I'm passing in set blogs and set blogs. Same thing for add blog. I'll do the same thing. Just change this to how it was before. Add blog here. No, the formula add blog. Then I pass in the props, which is these two. Okay. Control X. Then I can say Control V. Then of course now I have access to the blogs, then the set blogs. Okay. Yeah, and everything is, and of course I like it. Okay. Then I think I need to paste it here also. Real quick. Okay. Then I'm having blogs. Okay. I'm not repeating myself. Okay. Which is okay. This is prop trading. Then if I go back to my home page, I need to bring in blogs, okay, like that, comma, then set blog together. Then I pass again as a prop here together. I'm passing it from app to home page, from home page to blog section together. Same thing as you can see from our illustration here. Let me show it here. You can see from the app to the home page, then to the blog section. Quite an interesting to do. Okay, and those who are new, they will always try this. Okay, those who don't want to explore and look at Codex API, they always do this. Okay, and this is okay. But now because you have a few things, okay, then I can go back now. I think it will still work the same way. Hopefully, let's look. Just see how to work the same way. Saying home page is no defined. Okay, no error there. Saying about my app supposed to be home page with an E here. Okay, then it should automatically work. Good. Okay. Okay, then error happening here. What's the error? Use state is not defined, which is this. Said our, okay, there's no mistake there. Why is it simply defined? Set the app I should have use state, which is here. Let me save one more time. Compiling. Okay, what is that? Okay. Homepage not defined. What's the homepage? It's supposed to be homepage like this. Homepage. Did I make a mistake with the name? Okay, so this has to go away. This has to go away. This has to go away to avoid repetitions and double. Good. Okay, let me just get the name clear. Okay, the name is homepage here. Control copy. Homepage here. Real quick. Control V. Then I can save this and see. Okay. So good. It now works. Okay. There's no errors. Okay. You can see. Said my. If I go back to home page, it should be having the three things. Okay. If I add a new blog, it should add. Okay. That means I haven't changed the application. Okay. It's still the same. Okay. What I've changed is I've simply lifted the state. Okay. It's called it in the state. Okay. I removed it from the home page to the app. Okay. Good. Then now I can also have access to the. Can have access. Remember here we passed it as a prop, and I can have access to props. Sorry, to blogs, comma, and also set blogs. I hope I'm not confusing you, because this is, I think, quite clear when you read about props and state. Okay, Then since I have access to these two data from coming from what, from props, somewhat this format, I can now go ahead and maybe real quick, and I'll show you. But this time real quick, because it's gonna be the same thing. So I'll change, I'll say const, okay. Also maybe let's have an create let's say yeah, let's say get blogs, no, create blog, submit blog, let's have submit blog, comment casing, just okay, just like that. Then make it re-click equals to this, and of course yeah, this will be our submit function for submitting the form. Let's have an event. Then I'll say e.prevent default, yeah. Now of course sometimes you're going to have state which is private, okay, which is only not shared, okay, unshared state, okay, which shall say use, because right now won't keep track of what of the inputs, okay, this and this, okay. That means I don't need to have a global state, okay. It's gonna be a private state, okay, or a private data which is within our add block component, okay, together. And you can see here I will just have const, okay, const, I'll say const, let's have title value, okay, title value together, and then I'll have set title value, okay, like that, okay. Now of course I'm bringing new state, because right now because we are using a global state, that means that we don't have private state, okay. We always have private state, okay. Okay, then of course this will be an empty string at the beginning. Then I'll get only 2, but now I'll get so much, just only 2, because we are showing const. Then I'll get also maybe the subject, okay, subject value. Then also I'll set subject value, okay, subject value, like that. Then I'll say use state, like that, use state, then I'll bring in the string. Of course I need use state, okay. Use state. By the way, before I forget, okay, for line 2, people may have questions, okay. For line 2 is simply a React library which has icons, okay. It's called React icons, okay. You can look at it, okay, just for this icon here, for this icon here, okay. That's that, okay. I'm just using something called React icons. You can look at it later on, but for now it's not a matter, okay. So here I'm say title and this, okay. That means I can now go ahead and inside the input I can say on change, okay, that equals to, then I can say set value, so set title value, like that. I want to set it to I want to set the title value to e dot target dot value, okay, like that. Just that I'm just setting, I'm saying the value which is this value dot target dot value, okay. Same thing, I'll just come here for the text area, same here, have on change. Hope I'm not confusing you, okay, because this is just basic what React, okay. Just set if you are confused somewhere, go ahead and stop me and I'll explain, okay. Set subject value Then of course I'll say E don't target. Okay. Don't value. Hope I'm on the right track, because yeah, but okay, so you don't value, don't target, don't value. Yeah, hopefully is what I'm setting to be true. Yeah, so you don't target, don't value, which is the, yeah, it's okay. Hopefully if there's an error, of course we'll check the error on later on. Okay, let's say is undefined. So I think I need to, so I need to call a function here, just like that. Okay, then I'll pass in E here. Okay, hopefully it's the one. Yeah, just passing a value here, passing E here. Yeah, hopefully it's the one. If I'm messing it up, we'll fix it later on. Okay, good. Okay, now let me check my what is the thing here? Complaint? What's a complaint here? Yes, okay. For the A, so I'm going to check my components. Okay, then I'll check this component, which is this component here, the form, which is the add log form together. Then I'll say these two. If I type something here, should you see it's updating? Good. Okay, it's updating still here. Good. Okay, now it's working perfectly. Then right now I'll continue, because this E is a this, I know this is a shorthand, but we did this before together. That means it's not confusing. Okay. Then right now for the submit, that's what I'm caring about. Okay, I'll just go ahead back to my doc section here together. Then I'll just copy this. Okay, copy the set blog what function here together. Okay, control copy here. Yes, yeah, copy it. Okay, go back to my add blog. Then I'll just paste it here together. I'm saying set blocks, which is coming from our prop. Okay, I'm saying set blocks, then pass in the blocks, which is coming from our props. Okay, spread it over, then create a new blog up together. Then I'll leave the ID to be the same. The title will be, instead of having this title, I'll have the title value. Okay, title value. Yeah, title value. The subject will be the subject value. Subject value. Okay. Just like that. Okay, together. Control save. Then of course now let's try to see what's happening. Okay, let's first test out our hooks for the add block. Okay, for add block. So I'll just check out and say, let me first refresh the page to be sure. Then if I check my add block component, okay, if I add like I say title, maybe like title 1000, okay, what's the limit? Then maybe here can say just a bunch of words. Just copy this text here. Okay. Okay, yes, write something. Okay, something. Just don't waste time. Okay, then if I click on before I can submit, let's first fix the submit. Let's first fix the submit block. Okay, so I'll go back to my form here. Okay, move the action, doing the action right now. Then I'll say on submit. What is that on submit? Equals to submit log. Okay, just that together. Yeah, I don't need that E, don't the what don't need here. I just need to just say submit log. Okay? Then of course let's first refresh one time to make sure everything is working. Good, everything is working. Let's see the error one time. The error, I'll check the error. it's about the non-HTML element annals. Okay, so warning, go back to our components. Then of course I'll see state here, type something to be sure, hello. Okay, then I'll say something together. Good. Okay, now if I post, before I post, because I can't go back to this page once I post. Okay, let's try one more time. If I say submit, okay, and you can see if I check my what is saying, blogs is not editable. Okay, did I pass in the wrong prop? Okay, let's see. It's saying props not editable, which is okay. Let's go back to our app here and see what we passed here. Passed in blogs equals blogs here, blogs equals blogs. Okay, then back to our add blog form, saying set blogs. Why is it blogs not editable? Oh, I passed it in the wrong place. Oh, sorry about that. I should go back to my add blog page, then get these two. You see, that's why props building gets a bit hectic. Okay? Of course I'll get also the set blogs. That's why you see prop building can get onto your neck. Okay, then you can have here blogs equals to let me just finish in the next 5 minutes so you can look at what at the context API blogs here. Of course I'll have set blogs equals to set blogs. Yeah, save this, then I think it will work. Okay, it has to work, and then we'll be off to go. It will be good to go. Okay. Questions? Okay, everything's working. Refresh. Should be working perfectly. Of course, there will be some error. Okay, one error is okay. Then I'll say hello. Okay, then of course I'll say something. Okay, together. Then of course work again. Let's check. Because I'm submitting to a different, to the app, to the app. Okay. Okay, I'm submitting the app, which is here. Okay. I'm expecting to see the third. Okay, the third block. Okay. If I say submit, see, I'm seeing now the third is okay. That means you have successfully done an app using what prop building. Okay, that means you can actually pass in all this data. Okay, through props and still use it. Okay, still finish your blog app. Okay, that means of course if I go to my super duper blog app, you can see this. Okay, this is our props. Okay, this is our what we created. Okay, together. So you can see create this hello something here. Okay, which is okay. That means we have managed to transfer from one page to another. Okay, from one component to another component. But this is not a good thing, because you have seen how I almost messed up because I forgot to pass in props to the middle, or to the child in between another child. Okay, of course I pass in the props here, which gives us an error. Sometimes if your big app is very big, you get confused. Okay, so where did I pass in? Where is this? So you have to check all the risk. Okay? So that's why we're going to look at the context API. Okay? Context API. Okay, so before we actually look at the context API, okay, I'm going to just go ahead and bring up the documentation of the context API from React. Okay, from Facebook, or from the React documentation. Okay, and you can always go ahead and read. Okay, let me share a link in inside the chat, so that you can have access to this. Okay, very simple. And that's saying Atopia. Okay, they're telling you Atopia says context provides a way of passing data through component tree without having to pass props down manually at every level. Okay, together. it prevents us from using prop drilling together. That's saying a typical application that is passed top down, parent to child via props. Okay, you have seen that. Okay, you have the child, then you have another child, more children together. That thing, but this can be cumbersome for certain types of props. Okay, like a global prop, like data which is necessary for the whole application. Okay, I think that are required by many components within an application. That means if you require props or data within different components, that's when you use the context API. Okay, the context provides a way to share values like this between components without having to pass a prop through every level of the tree. Okay, let's say when to use prop, when to use context API, when to use the context. Okay, before you use the context, they tell you why, then they give you the API how it works. Okay, you have the create context, then you have the provider, then you have the context type for the classes, then you have the consumer, you have the this display name we won't be using that much. Okay, then you have more examples here. Okay, together. Then of course you have the legacy API, but we don't need that much. Okay, those who have done Redux before, you find this quite similar to Redux, but only right now at the beginning. Okay, and I did talk about higher order components, but maybe we'll look at higher order components later on because we'll be using them that much. Okay, but know that with context API, things may seem a bit kind of sketchy and confusing at the beginning, but once you get used to it, it becomes very simple to understand. So let's say when to use context. Okay, very simple. The thing you might have to have in mind when this context is, do you need to use this data in many components? Okay, or do you want it to be global data? That's all. Okay, other things will come in later. I'll explain all this later on. Okay, together. Things like so data which is like maybe the user authentication, things like themes, things like in our case we're having our blogs which are shared between different components. Okay, then the last bit of it, they're saying before you use context. Okay, and they're saying if you only want to avoid passing some props through many levels, component composition is often a similar solution to context. But by now I want to use context composition, but we just use the context API because I need us to learn about context API. Okay, because your app will grow bigger. Okay? Maybe you can go ahead and read about context composition later on, but it's up to you. Okay, but now you want to look at the context API. Okay, let's say I'm going to try to avoid prop drilling. Okay, so before I read through all this, okay, let me just go ahead and show you how to begin, because this is then give you a good picture of an actual application. Okay, just gives you more snippets. Okay, so of course let's go and just look at how we can tackle this. Okay, so remember, if you look at our diagram here, okay, which is our illustration here, which is the which is like this here. Okay, this illustration here, we having our external context. Okay, so in any case you have to have an external file or an external function or class, whatever you want to have. Okay, which is outside your components. Okay, that's not gonna be. Okay, so same thing, you come here. Of course, the most common way is to create what we call a context, like context. Okay, context folder. Okay, you can name it store. That was what name it. Okay, but in my case I'm going to name it context. Okay, a context folder. Okay, which will contain our global data. Okay, together. It's gonna be a bit confusing at the beginning, but just know that you create a context folder which will contain your context. Its name can be maybe store, can be whatever you want to name it. Okay, but in my case I'm saying context. Okay? Or we can say let's name it store. Okay, just to make our things easy. Okay, let's name it our store. Okay, store together. Store will contain our data. Okay, but in the long run I would name it backward to context because this is the store. Okay, so inside our context, our store folder, I'm going to create the first context. Okay, or the first data. Okay, and our first data will be let me see, we have our data. Our first data will be this, we call it blog, okay, context together, because our context will be about blogs, okay, not JSX, okay, together. That's our first blog together, will be blog context together. So in this case here, of course, it's a component. I'll go ahead and import React from React, okay. So import React from React, okay. I don't need a component, I think React from React, okay. So import React from React, okay. Then of course here I'm going to use a function which is given by the context API, which is create context together. In our case, you can see here here our context here, that they're saying at the top here, sorry, let's just move, okay. Yes, at the bottom here, it says the API, okay. You have to have the create context, okay. So you first have to create the context together. So I'm going to put the context here, control copy real quick, then I'll come here and say I want to create the context, just that, okay. Now change to be my blog context, okay. Then so this will also remain the same, since I'm using I'm using this create context function. It's coming from React, okay. So I'll say remove this, I don't have the dot React syntax, I want it come from here, okay. Clean code, okay. Don't have to have don't React context. So I'll say create context, okay. Just like that, okay. Now here I've already created our context, okay. Of course I have to export it, okay. So export the context, okay. Okay, that's the first thing. You create the context which you need, okay. That's the first procedure you do, okay. You create the context which you require, okay. If you have questions here, ask, because the next part will get a bit confusing, okay. Good. Then the next bit of it is after creating, the default value is always of course the initial state, okay. Let's say the default argument is only used when a component does not have a branching provider, okay. So we'll look at provider later on, but by now just know that we don't need a default because we don't have our provider, okay. Then next bit of it is that we don't have our provider together. You can see this provider looks like our JSX, okay, together. That means in your mind you have to say this looks like JSX, okay. That means you have to create a function or a component for it, okay. So of course I'll come here and say const, okay. Then since it's a provider, okay, I will say blog, okay, context provider. I just like the naming it, provider, okay. Blog context provider. We can say blog provider, but just having the context just makes it kind of sound nice, okay. Now say equals a component, okay, which returns, okay, returns some JSX, okay. And this JSX, it will be in our case here you can see it is my context no provider, okay. Very simple, same thing here. I will say blog, because remember our things called blog context, okay. So I'll say blog context context here supposed to be JSX, okay. JSX don't provider, just like that, okay. Then of course text in a value prop, okay. This now is now be an empty. Let's have it be empty by now. Then of course we attach that, okay. Just that, okay. Very simple. Of course, since this is a component, I want to export it, okay. Export default, okay, to be a blog context provider, okay. So I'm exporting both the blog context as a named export. Then I'm also exporting this as the JSX, okay. So I'm say here, I'm gonna say here, very simple, okay. I'm gonna say the context provider, okay. Context provider together, okay. Here will be we create, okay, our context, okay. good. It's a bit tricky, but I'm just following documentation. Yes, okay, documentation, and it's to get a bit tricky, but if you follow the documentation very well, things you can avoid some errors. Okay, so of course, let's continue saying some values. Say each context comes with a provider, which allows us to consume. Okay, allows us to pass data. Okay, so the provider is one who provides the state. Okay, or the data. Okay, and you can pass it. You can either consume it via the context type or the use context. Okay, and of course they will show you how to use it. Okay, I'm not showing it how to. I'm showing you how to use the context type, which we'll look at in a minute. Okay, then they are saying, okay, context dot consumer. Okay, of course we're going to look at the context dot consumer later on, but now let's just, because they are not showing us exactly how to go about it. Okay, but by now what we do to make things easier for us, okay, is you're going to wrap, okay, all the stuff, okay, everything within our context provider. Okay, so in our case here, we're going to wrap all the application, okay, inside this context provider. Okay, so I'm going to go to my app, okay, together. Then I'm going to bring in, okay, the blog context provider. Okay, so blog context provider. Okay, together like that. Then after that, I'll just Ctrl X, okay, have it down at the bottom here. Okay, just have everything within the blog context provider. Okay, that means all the components within this component. Okay, all the components within the mother component, because this is the mother. Okay, this is like the grandmother. Okay, okay, of the other components. Okay, that means I'm saying all the components within this kind of encased JSX have access to data coming from the blog context. Okay, kind of tricky, but that's how it works. Okay, then of course now I'm gonna go ahead and see how my thing looks. Okay, you can see what it's saying. It's saying what is it? Complaining about the value. Let's just have a value. Let's have an empty string. Okay, let's have an empty string here of saying maybe hello. No matter what name it. Okay, have that just to avoid that error which is coming here. Should be empty. What is saying? Okay, right now you can see it's now empty together. It's now, there's nothing there appearing. Okay? There's no error, but you see there's no error here, but I'm saying it's all empty together. And you can see app, then the blog context provider. Okay, the children are not there. Okay, the children is only one child. Okay, there's no child. Okay, you can see the value is hello. So for us to pass in the values, okay, you have to pass in props. Okay, still props don't go. Okay, so we have to pass in the other data. Okay, you have to pass in this data, all this data. Okay, all this data. Okay, as props together. And React has something called props to children. Okay, so we're gonna say here, we'll say I'm gonna pass in props, okay, don't children here. Okay, together. So props to children means that within this application, okay, whatever comes in here, okay, whatever is between here will be rendered automatically. Okay, that's the props to children. Okay, kind of a tricky bit of it, but I'm simply saying whatever is between this blog context provider, which is here, will be rendered out as a child. Okay, now maybe we'll look at it later, but here I just want to have a bit of introduction. Okay, to blog to context API. You can see now they have come back. Okay, so you can see now the context provider here, I'm having a value called hello together. Here I'm having the blog context, which is provider, which is this provider. I'm having access to the value. Okay, quick. Now this value will be quite important. Okay, this value now I should be to have our data as what, as this value. Okay, it's going to validate in a minute. Excuse me. So before I complete with this blog context provider, okay, let's shift the state. Okay, this state here. Okay, this is this state here, which is this state. Okay, which is this, yeah, this here. You can say I want now to remove all the state. Okay, let's have this here, context. Okay, one thing is like once you're learning a context, okay, don't forget your other concepts, okay, because I'll bring in this block, the block array, just like that. Then of course I also get this, okay, Ctrl X, okay, come back to my provider here. I'll paste it inside my my context provider, because remember, use state has to be used within our component, okay. So of course I'll come and say comma here, bring use state here, just that, okay, very simple, okay. Then back to my application here. Then of course I don't need these props, okay, these props here, okay, these props, okay, I don't need to pass them here, okay, anymore, okay. Then I can format this, just make sure, yeah, everything is nice and clean. Then let me see if you have questions for me. Good, okay. Then right now, this context, sorry, all my applications have access to this, okay, to these blocks and set blocks, just by passing them as values, okay, together as values. Very simple. I can say I want to pass in an object, okay, because I'm building more stuff, okay. Because I want to pass in blocks, okay, together equating to blocks, okay, together. But comma, then I'm having to have set blocks together equating to set blocks, okay, together. I'm passing in a prop code blocks together, and the name, sorry, a prop of a prop of what of an object, okay, having blocks as a key, and the value having these blocks together. Then the set blocks, then the set blocks, okay. Quite simple. It's a prop, okay. It's a prop of a what, of an object, okay. Good. Then next bit of it is the simplest bit of it, okay. Very simple, okay. After setting up this app, okay, the next bit of it is for you to use it inside your components, okay. And how do you use it inside your components? How do you use it, okay? How do you use this, okay? There are two ways, okay. The first way is if you're using a class-based component, okay. So, and it's quite simple. Quite simple. Let's just look at our components here. Let's look at, because right now we are using functional components, okay. So let's look at how we can use it, okay. So I'll show you how to do it, okay, using the function component, okay. Then I'll show you how to do it using the class real quick. Then we can continue out, okay. We can say this will, of course, this will stay the same, okay. This will stay the same because I'm not changing. What I need to change is this, okay. Then of course here I'll pass in, say comma, I'll pass in something called use context. I think it's context here. Yeah, use context, okay. So use context is something provided, is a hook, okay, which allows us to use the context API, okay. Questions for me? No questions for me. Okay. So now I have access to the use context together. Okay. I think I'll show you how to use it, okay. Then of course down there, remember, for you to use your hooks, okay, hooks has to be used within the component, okay. I want to have it, I want to use it, I just have it, okay, have it here, okay. So I can say I need to say the structure out the component, okay. Then of course I think it is it's quite simple. You say const, okay, okay, yeah, is it const? Yes, like that. Then I think you pass in okay. Okay, sorry, you pass in, I think you say blogs, comma, set blogs equals to use context. Then I want to use this context, which is called what did you name it? Name it blog context, I think. Yeah, blog context here, which is this blog context. So of course here I will say when I use the blog context here, of course the break will be brought out from our store, okay, and then you have access to it. Good. Now how do you think sorry, I won't ask you, so I'm not explaining it. So the other way of us now having access to the blog settings is the easiest way to do it, okay? Use the context. There's another way called using the consumer, but by now we're just looking at what at so we're going to just look at how we are using hooks together, because hooks is quite so convenient, okay? Okay, so now I can say instead of saying set blogs here, which is this, okay, I think it will work the same way. I think I don't need the proofs anymore here. Okay, proofs anymore. Let's see. Okay, I didn't change that much. I just set blogs, then set blogs here. Okay, hopefully it's what there's no, because there'll be an error. Of course, I know that there'll be an error. I think we need to have this as an object here, as an object, not as an array. Okay, let's see. Blog array is not defined. Why? Okay, there's an error here. Let's see the error. Then we can continue and fix the error. Then we'll call it a decoder one plus. I think cannot really put to map. Okay, so let's first fix that also real quick. Then we can call it. Before that, let's just move this. This thing has to go back to up here. Remove this home page. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. The home page maybe there's an error in the home page, but still just move the error in the home page. Then it should work. Should give us an 404 error, which is okay. Then back to create blog. Good. Okay. I can see inside my value I'm having blogs together, which is this and this and this. Okay. Then if I say, I'm sure if I say hello here, I go to something, okay, happening. Let's see. We should update this value, okay, to 3. Let's submit. 3. Okay, it has worked. Good. Okay, let me see the error here. The error. There's the error. The error is just the same error which we asked for the loop. Okay. Good. Okay. Because was getting a bit kind of tiresome, but for now you can see I haven't changed much, okay, about my application, okay, because remember, maybe I'll explain one more time. So before I explain, let me also fix the other error which was coming from this home page. Then you can explain for the last time, then question will pop up, then you can call it a day, okay. Then of course let's go back to our which is home page here, home page real quick. Home page, okay. Then home page, I don't need this to pass in this too anymore together. No, I think I need this. I need the blocks here, okay. I need the blocks here because I'm looping through them, okay. So I can move this, then come here and say use context, okay. I need to bring it use context here also. Use context, okay. So of course I'll say I want to use the blog context, okay. So of course what I need to destructure out, because I need to structure out one value which is blogs, okay. I think right now I don't need to discharge our set blocks, okay? Because set blocks, yeah, like that, okay, very simple, okay, equals to blog context, okay. Then here I can say I don't need what to pass in proofs anymore, okay. Here also I don't need what to pass in at the items here anymore, say. I don't need passing with, yeah, don't need passing that blocks anymore here, okay. Okay, I just need to pass in the blocks because I'm going to map the blocks here together. Then inside my block section, I don't need to, and I think I don't need this anymore. I don't need this restriction anymore because it's useless. I don't need props anymore. I think I need the props. Yeah, and I need props, but I don't need the set block and blocks anymore. I think these three: the title, subject, and the image. Yes, only that. Yeah, only that. And I think that's mostly it, okay. Let me see if there's an error. Let's save this. It should be in an error. What? Okay, this function here is undefined. Let's remove it also. Let's save this. Then it should work perfectly the way it was working. What's the error? Okay, let's see. What is saying? I said block context is undefined. Okay, understand. So inside my our home page, I think I did it. Okay, I didn't bring it block context. Okay, so I just say import, okay, block context, okay, from the slash, I think it's the slash context, nope, stop slash block context. Yeah, save this. Yeah, I think it should work good, okay. If I go back to my super duper blog app, what's happening? So let me just fix error real quick. I didn't calculate the day what's happening. Let's say oh, did I make a mistake? Oh, I know what I did. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, blogs context. As I cannot destructure what of blocks of object as it's undefined. Why was undefined? Let's just pass it the two of them. Maybe that's why I'm having that error. Comma set blocks. Maybe that's why I have some error with structuring, but it's okay. Let's check one more time. Camera comes first. Having blocks. Good. That's okay. It should work now. Cannot. Why cannot what? Cannot be structure. Okay, why? Okay, is there an error happening here? Because this site worked for this worked perfectly. Oh, it's supposed to be an object, an array, which is okay. Okay, the first of the server, I don't know why, but there shouldn't be an error here. It should be perfect. Should be working the way I want it to be working. Homepage. Let's see. Set logs. Use context. Log context. It's coming from log context here. That's just maybe the naming. Yes, copy this and paste it. Because I don't know. I'm not sure why it's on this structure. You can't content copy. Go to homepage. Paste this out. Control V. Not that, rather the add block here, which is this. Control copy, come back to our home page. This should work the same way. Control V. I think I don't need I use that anymore here. The home page. Control save. Then I should try one more time, run it again, and then I'll call it a day if it works. Okay. Because it should work. Okay. It's almost compiling. See compiling. Second time. Okay. So as second time, let's first review what we did. Okay. Set up block context. Okay. So for our context to work, let me just first clear this up. Okay. Have a clear. Okay. Wait. Let's first continue. Okay. So for us to use context together, we want to use the create context hook. It's a code. Yeah. It's a method provided by React. Okay. It's a method. Okay. Which comes from React. Then this is our initial state, which is our block array. Okay. Because I'm passing it here as an initial state. Okay. Just to remind me here. Okay. I told you explain why I like keeping the personal data in a variable, but it's like a variable which just is our initial state. Okay. Then after that you create a context object, which is this. Okay. A context object. Okay. Which you say export const, then you create a context together. They say equal to the create context function. Okay. Can pass the default value if you're not creating a provider, but now you're having a provider. Okay, that's right. Then you pass the default value. Okay. So I'm saying export context. Okay. Because the context operates the tracker to track our data. Okay. Then after that, okay, you create a provider which now will provide, okay, which now will give our data. Okay. This context is what will track our data. Okay. This provider is what will allow us to pass in the data. Okay. Tracks the data. In our case, it's what this one will help us to mutate and then pass in the data. Okay. Then of course I'm saying I'm using the create, I'm using the use state function from React to mutate the state. Okay. So of course, like usually you pass in the blocks, the data which you want to change, then the function. Okay. Together. Then after that, just like props. Okay. You pass in the value which you want to be shared. Okay. Which is the blocks, then the set blocks. Okay. Then after that, remember to do this children. It just allows us to have all the other data, all the other functions, the components to be available for this block context. Okay. Saying this block context provider is the mother of all the other components, okay, which are encapsulated within this, okay, which are between these two tags. Okay. Then of course for my app, you bring in the provider, okay, together, which encapsulates everything. Okay. Then have all the other components will be between these two tags. Okay. And then have multiple other components. Okay. Let's see. Still having the same issues. Okay. I'm not sure why there's an issue here, but okay. Cannot structure blocks as undefined. Okay, I'll fix the error later on. But for now, I know that we put everything inside the context provider together, then put all the other components between those two tags. Okay. Yeah, and that's all. And then if you want to use the blocks together, if you want to use the data, which is the block and the set block, let's just go on which works just unblock. Okay. You pass in the use state. Okay. What did I use it here? Yeah, use context. So you use the context, use context hook, okay? Which allows us to what? Which takes in the context, okay? So you say const, then you structure out the value, okay? The value is this, okay? The value is from the provider. Sorry about this. So the value is from this provider, okay? This value, okay? You structure out this value, which is blocks, move the blocks, okay? You structure out that value. The same thing as saying const, okay, blogs equals to use context. That's structure in context. Okay. Then you pass in blog here, blog context. That's that. Okay. Then you say dot blogs. Okay. Same thing. Okay. But now, I know why the error is happening here. Sorry about this. I think the error I've just thought about it. Okay. this has to be an object, has to be a named import. Okay, yeah, named import here. Then everything will work out. Let's see. Let's save this. Yeah, then I think it's now saved. The